It was a beautiful summer's day, and I was walking along the countryside to unwind from a hard week's work. I was never down this road, and the reason is because I took a break from work for a week in as backward a place as I could get in the middle of Texas. This was my first day here, and I must admit the scenery is beautiful. I came across a farm, and suddenly, breaking the peaceful tranquility of the countryside atmosphere, I heard a screech. I wondered, what could it have been? So I investigated. I walked behind the barn and could see, way down a hill, a man with a huge knife, and it looked like he was about to cut the other man's head off. I felt goosebumps crawl all over my body, and I just froze, afraid I'd let him know I was here, and he would definitely kill me also for witnessing it. I hid behind the barn, then took another peek down the hill to see were they still there. Then I ran as fast as I could. About an hour later, I found a local police station and explained it to the sheriff. He said he would drive out there right away, and he took my number and he said he would keep me updated. The weird thing was, the sheriff told me he went down to the place I mentioned, but there was no barn and no farm, but just overgrown fields. I couldn't understand what was happening and pleaded with him to drive me down to where I saw it. I was dumbfounded when we got there, as it was just how the sheriff said. There was no barn, but just overgrown fields. The sheriff asked me, was I on something, or had I the wrong place? But I knew I hadn't the wrong place. The question was, how and why was it so different? I went back to my motel a few hours later and lied on my bed pondering what was wrong. I tried to come up with some explanation but failed miserably. I got up and switched on the TV, and suddenly numbers popped up on the screen. 120 618 19. I wondered what they popped up for, and had a strange feeling to write them down. I tried to get some sleep then, but was woken by a sound outside the motel. There was an envelope down on the ground. I picked it up, wondering what it was. Wondering, was it for me? There was a receipt for a knife. I thought it very strange, and wondered, was someone playing some kind of sick trick on me? But then my eyes caught something very, very strange. On the paper, I saw the receipt's order number. Looked very familiar. So I took out the piece of paper I had wrote the numbers on that were written on the TV. Sure enough, the numbers matched the receipt's order number, which was 120 618 19. I then thought, maybe the motel had their own way of putting an order number on the TV. But I hadn't ordered anything. My curiosity was growing, and suddenly I had an idea. What if I searched those numbers online? I got out my laptop and searched them, and my jaw dropped and my heart thumped in my chest when I saw what I saw. On the 12th of the 6th, in 1819, there was an execution taking place on this exact date. Today was the 12th of the 6th, 2019, exactly 200 years after that date. I suddenly realised the significance of the numbers. I looked at the photo and saw the two men that I just saw earlier. I felt shivers run up my spine as I tried to fathom, how did I become a witness to an execution that happened 200 years ago? Unless for the unbelievable idea that I must have somehow travelled through a time warp to travel back 200 years to witness it. I couldn't understand what was happening. I jumped when suddenly I heard a knock on the door. I answered it, and what I saw, I would never, ever forget. It was the man who was killing the other man in the field, standing right before me. He raised his knife and was about to kill me when suddenly he disappeared. I told a few people, but they wouldn't believe me. I am very afraid that someday the man will come back to kill me, maybe because I witnessed the execution 200 years ago. But as I said, no one would believe me, but the fear is rooted deep in me, and I regret ever coming to this God-forsaken town.